got the shot off. Lewis!
He runs with the 50. He runs with the 40. The guy is drunk.
Here we go.
Turn it up.
You're listening to the Benchwarmers and Burners podcast with your host, Josh Lozano.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Benchwarmers and the Burners. Got a special guest, long distance connection all the way over from New York. Got Chris Lebron over here, host of the Off the Ball podcast. Go check it out. I'm going to leave the show notes below. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, man. Thank you for having me on, man. It's a pleasure to be on.
And it's good having you, too. You know, it's always good. Friends, how's everything going in New York for you with the, COVID-19?
Yeah, man, it's crazy out here, man. It's like a ghost town in a lot of parts, especially in the city where it's always it's the city that never sleeps. And right now it's crazy, man. It's a ghost town, but hopefully everything gets better. But it's been rough. It's been rough lately here, but just trying to keep the mind focused and trying to take it day by day.
No, yeah, I feel that too, especially here in Vegas. There's always something going on with the Strip. Everyone just assumes we live in the hotel casinos, but it's crazy. No one's coming in. I mean, it's bad in Vegas too, because they said the dispensaries were essential. Now they said, man, if that shit's not delivered, it's not essential. So now we got people driving around. We got Ubers delivering liquor and marijuana now. That's how you know we're in crisis out here in Vegas. Yeah. But I know it's crazy over there. I know it's a lot crazy over there in New York. I'm glad you're safe. So we're just going to get right into it. It's crazy. I got a lot of fans who are loyal fans to the New York Knicks. I think it's just atrocious that, I feel like you guys deserve better because some of my favorite sports fans are New York fans just because of their personality. They're great guys to get a beer with, watch some games. So I sent you a couple of things. I sent you a list of the Knicks coaches, of the last 15 years. Yeah. So basically,
it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of coaches. Larry Brown from 2005 to 2006, he went into the Hall of Fame, and he had a winning percentage of 28% with the Knicks. Only coached with one season. From there, you guys had Isaiah Thomas, Mike D'Antoni. You had a little bit of success with him. You went to the playoffs. He didn't win a game there. It wasn't until Mike Woodson. Then you guys had those famous games with Carmelo Anthony, J.R. Smith. I feel that was a great team that you guys did. Steve Novak era.
Yeah.
So how are your feelings?
Novocaine.
The Novocaine. How are you feeling about the New York Knicks, man?
Oh man, where do I start?
Where do you start?
Where do I start? There's just so much. It's really, I could literally talk for hours about what's happened with the Knicks, especially since that Mike Woodson era where they had a couple years of some success. They won 50 games. They won their division that one year and made it to the second round. And ever since, it's just been bad, man. I think it's been well illustrated how bad it's been, and especially with last year, the off season, the past off season, and all the hope that getting free agents and Zion Williamson and all these.
Oh yeah,
and all that good stuff, and then to just be heartbroken by not winning the lot, getting no free agents, and ending up with Julius Randle. It's definitely it hasn't been a fun overall maybe 20 years of lack of success, but the last 7 years I would say have really been tough.
Yeah, man, I don't know what's up with just the string of bad luck that the Knicks have gotten, because I think Zion would have been a perfect for that city, and then it's like you guys got Julius Randle, and no discredit to him, Julius Randle's a great player. He showed flashes of really good potential in the Lakers. That tandem of him, Mirotic, and Anthony Davis, they were winning a decent amount of games over in New Orleans. I don't know. I just don't feel like he's a good fit in the Knicks because you guys got more forwards than like an office chainmail going on there.
We love power forwards. So we got 6 of them. We got 6 of them. So it's crazy because they just never had another plan. Their plan B, they didn't have a plan B. They went all in for a plan A, and when plan A didn't work, they never had a plan B. So they pretty much just signed whoever can that was available that they can get at that, so it's still surreal.
Yeah, so I gotta ask you, because you got your nose to the ground a little bit better there on the concrete jungle. How are your feelings because all the analysts that don't know what they were talking about were saying like, oh yeah, Kyrie and KD, they're going to the Knicks. It's a foregone conclusion. What were your thoughts about that? Did you feel like you got a little bit honeypot? Did you think, oh man, they're never coming here? Or did you felt like you guys had a shot? What was your opinion about that? And especially being around that local market?
My first thoughts were that this could be real. But, as being a Knicks fan, you've learned to get burned a lot. So you take it with a grain of salt, and you're like, okay. But then you start hearing a lot of the big analysts, Stephen A. Smith, Rick Bucher. Now I don't trust any of those guys, but there's a lot of, even the guys like Chris Haynes, there's a whole bunch of guys that were saying, KD's coming. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then people were guaranteeing he's coming to New York. And then you start hearing little by little, especially once they traded Porzingis, it felt like once that happened, everything just started, snowballing. And it was just, you start hearing these things. Well, KD's not coming by himself. He wants Kyrie. Kyrie wants Brooklyn. And then that's once it started getting real. Then once we got to once the season was over, then you're hearing that KD is liking, he wants to come to New York, not play for the New York Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
You hear rumblings about Brooklyn, and then it started getting real and real and real. And then it happened. I mean, I had a Knicks writer on my show, a Knicks who guy covers the Knicks, and I asked him what the hell happened? Why did it go from he was a lock to go to the Knicks, and then now he's a Net? And he was just they just got terrible information. He's he pretty much said that they weren't gonna come. The way that their franchise was built, he was there was no chance they were coming, and they were coming as a tandem. The Knicks weren't feeling Kyrie. So and they were a package deal. So and the Nets were willing to do that. So he's the Knicks just got terrible information. The fact that they traded Porzingis with the assumption that they were going to get two guys was just very careless. Mm-hmm. That's not something you should do. That's just a terrible business. In any frame of business, you would never do something like that. Assuming if you're going to get something and without without it in writing and a signature and set in stone, and the Knicks that's how they went about it. When they traded Porzingis, they just said, okay, yeah, guys, we're going to get two guys, and then it never happened. And it set back this team for ages, mm-hmm. all the mismanagement and Dolan just keep hiring terrible people to run the team. It set this team back for God knows for how long. You can be in this rebuilding stage for 10 more years. So all this stuff has really set back this franchise for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also agree with that too. I really don't know about the whole Porzingis thing, because you'll hear one thing and it's on totally left. You'll hear another thing and it's totally right. Yeah. Some of it too was because he had some rumblings with the police. But I got to ask you basically two questions. First one was, what were you feeling about Porzingis? Because I actually I know a diehard Knicks fan, and at first he loved Porzingis, especially because of how he embraced American culture, and not just American culture but New York culture. He was rocking the Timbs, and he was like, yeah man, I love he's like, yeah man, I got how I learned English is I'm watching World Star. At first I was like, man, this is perfect. He seems to fit. Yeah, he doesn't have the New York toughness yet, but he has a personality. I thought that's something you guys can work. How was your guys' perception of Porzingis over there? That's the first one. The second one is, I know all the media, like Stephen A., everyone, all the talking heads, they just rip Jamesdolan. I personally also agree that I feel like the Knicks are cursed until he moves on from it. But what are your guys' opinion? Not just the national media. I want to hear an actual, in the trenches type of guy. What's your feeling about Jamesdolan?
All right, so you want to go with Jamesdolan first or the Porzingis stuff first?
Yeah, we could just rock with the Jamesdolan, then we can guys' perception of Porzingis, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so Jamesdolan, man. It's another guy you could talk about for hours. You know what? For a while, I honestly wasn't someone who bashed Jamesdolan a lot, because I always and to a point I kind of still believe it, but I believe he wants to win. I just think his problem is he hires the wrong people every single time. So that's his issue, is that he has no clue how to hire people who know basketball. That is his issue. I've heard from obviously with the whole Oakley, and then not recently with those Spike Lee stuff, but most players have said that they have good relationships with Dolan, and it gets. But obviously you hear from fans and stuff that we despise them and stuff, and it's just, I think we get frustrated with the lack of winning, but I think his main issue is he just hires the wrong people at high positions. The VP, the GMs, he just continues to hire them. He hires Phil Jackson simply because he's Phil Jackson. And he's like, all right, guys, I'll stay out of it. I'll hire someone who knows basketball. hey, Phil, you want to do this? No, I really don't want to do this, James. Well, I'll give you $20 million a year. Okay, I'll do it.
You get Phil as a coach, but then you put him in a position to run a team, something he's never done before. So then it's like what you were saying. It's just
completely different.
Yeah, it's totally different. You know, that's like you like your mechanic so much, so you hire him to race your car. You know, it's like, yeah, he might be good fixing it. Doesn't mean he's good driving it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean he could drive it. Yeah, like it's like if this is Phil Jackson, the coach. Oh man, I'm ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Phil Jackson, the GM. I mean, you couldn't really judge on that because at first you're happy because you got Phil Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
You think he has a great mind for basketball. You think he has a great mind for basketball. He's won so many championships. He's coached the Lakers teams. He's coached the Bulls teams. So you're just assuming he just has a great mind for basketball and he could translate that to the front office. But in reality, he was just late, super late. He didn't want to put the work in. He didn't want to do international scouting. He didn't want to go to college, certain college games. You know, travel. What you have to do to be a good VP of basketball operations or have a good team around you to do this. He didn't have that. He was poor at that. He didn't, and it showed. It showed with the bad trades, bad free agent hot signings. You know, I know the Porzingis thing was supposedly his, but Porzingis kind of fell in his lap. Though that wasn't really his. Like, oh, I found Porzingis. No, it fell. Porzingis was the top-rated player on the board. He took the best guy on the board. I mean, it's not that hard to do, you know. So I wouldn't give him. People give him credit for that. I'm not going to give him credit for that. He doesn't deserve the credit for that. That was an obvious pick, you know. So, but as far as and that all refers to Dolan just hiring, continue to, Steve Mills has been around since for the last 20 years, and it's kind of funny how the last 20 years has been, has been the worst time in Knicks history, and Steve Mills is one of the big reasons for that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just the bad hire. I think that's what frustrates me more, because I think like I said, I truly believe he wants to win. He's at every game. He knows that people hate him, but it's still crazy that he goes to the games. He still shows up. So that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't stand him in a bit because we're not winning, and so of course we're gonna blame the owner, but he's still going courtside to games. I mean, why would you want to go courtside if you're going to literally get cursed at, booed at, sell the team, So he just needs to figure out how to handle management, and hopefully with the Leon Rose, getting Leon Rose, and hopefully Leon Rose has a good team around him, things can change. But they butchered the last. Dolan and the rest of the management butchered the last few years. Yeah,
and then I know there's just always rumblings about Masai Ujiri coming in too. That would have been great for the Knicks, but you just couldn't land that fish. I don't know, James. That's what I think too. Is I feel like James, you're 100% right. I feel like James Dolan wants to win. It's not like he wants the Knicks to be bad. There's it's not like he was just using the team as a source of revenue because the Knicks are a massive money generator. I feel like he genuinely just wants to win. He just was a little bit incompetent with putting the right pieces, but hopefully that'll change. I always felt like he was just trying to go with the big, because when you look at the list of names that he put for coaches or GMs, it was always big name guys. It was always something that you'd see on the paper, and it was just splash. It'd be like Isaiah Thomas, head coach, like it, or same thing like that, like Phil Jackson coming in as and running the team. But I just felt like it was just guys that didn't have that experience. We'll see. And then real quick, how was you and everyone else in New York's feelings about Porzingis?
I mean, I think we all, obviously when they first drafted him, most people didn't know about him. I kind of heard about him, with the pre-draft stuff. I'm really big into the draft, so I heard about Porzingis, and I was intrigued. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie, I did want Okafor.
Yeah, who wouldn't want at the time?
And it's crazy. It's only been 6 years or so, 5-6 years, and it's crazy how much basketball shifted in just that amount of time. Where Okafor coming out now, he would not even be considered a top 5 pick, but Porzingis, I mean, I was like, okay, and then I fell in love with him like everyone else did, and I just think the lack of no winning really hurt, and I think that kind of messed with Porzingis, and just having maybe not the best people around him or so. But let's say I don't really know the whole story about that. Maybe we'll never know, but that's what you hear. And then once he tore his ACL, I think that's when everything changed. Because once he tore his ACL, I mean, we were. I think most Knicks fans were in a good place. Like, okay, if we can get another guy to go for Porzingis, I think we could be fine. But once he tore that ACL, I think against Milwaukee, I think that's when literally like the love for Porzingis and how people want him to rush back and stuff. I think that's when it started fading, and then it's obviously when George he wanted out, and then we traded him literally within 20 minutes. It felt like that's when everything started getting bad, and obviously. This Knicks, I don't know if you saw the game when they played Dallas. When Dallas came to the Garden, he was getting booed kind of crazy.
Hey, you guys won the Dallas Knicks championship though. You guys swept them. You swept them.
2-0 against Porzingis, but it's crazy because there's still fans that think that the trade was a good trade, and it's like that's crazy to think that it's a good trade now.
No, it's not.
Because it clearly wasn't. Because what we got in return, especially with Porzingis playing with Doncic now, and he before everything happened, Porzingis was playing well. People forget he's coming back from an ACL, a year removed. It's going to take a little bit before he gets back to the groove, and he looked like that. And I think he's going to make us pay in the future. We might have won the first 2 games of Knicks, but if next season happens, he's going to make us pay. So it was tough. It's tough losing him because you see him he has all the talent to be such a great player, and to see that he's on a different team now, and he's with Luka Doncic, and they have potential to be one of the best duos in the league, and maybe win a championship in the 3 to 5 years or whatever. It's gonna hurt even more as the years go to me.
Yeah, and then the thing is too is I think they might be the greatest European 1-2 punch tandem that the league's gonna see because they're so talented, so young. And I'm glad that you brought up. Yeah, I know a lot of Knicks fans weren't too excited about Porzingis, and I don't think it's not their fault. I mean, anyone that really says that they follow European basketball like that at that time, nowadays with how predominant social media and how easy it is, I know it was hard because you're like, who is this Porzingis guy? I just saw Okafor just dominate it in March Madness. Like, this is the guy I want. You're telling me, and then you also had sour taste in your mouth because people forgot, but there was times when guys were like Andre Bargnani were giving Europeans a bad name. Like people's draft stocks were dropping just because of what people prior to them were doing. Yeah, I mean, the trade was crazy, too, that you guys did for it because it was not only Porzingis, but it was also Tim Hardaway Jr., Trey Burke, and Courtney Lee.
Yeah, contract, yeah.
Yeah, for Dennis Smith, DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and it was a unprotected 2021 pick, and then I think it was a top 10 protected first-round pick in like 2023 or 2024. Got to fact check that later. But, all right, so I got to play you a little clip real quick.
Moving around. My job is to bring it back. Toronto Raptors, they brought in Drake. Right? They brought in Drake to bring that thing. The New York Knicks brought in me.
All right, well, the New York Knicks brought in Steve Stout. I'm bringing in Chris Lebron. Chris, I'm bringing in you to fix the Knicks. What would you do right now?
As far as like this off season, if I'm the GM for this off season,
this off season,
what's the moves I would make?
Yeah.
Well, make sure that we're scouting the right guys that are going to fit the system. Who's going to help complement RJ Barrett. That's your future.
Mm-hmm.
We need to whatever pick we get 1 to 6. Figure out, okay, if we're at this spot, this is who we want. You think who fits best with RJ. Figure out who's the best piece. Get 8 guys who you think, all right, these guys are the guys that we're going to want to help complement RJ.
Mm-hmm.
And point them out. And then if they're there, whatever pick I don't know what pick will it be. I'm going to guess between 1 to 7 at this point. It could be 1 to 7. You figure out, okay, if we're at 6, if this guy's here, he best complements RJ. Let's get that guy. And then with the second first round pick, we find the guy, another shooter. Try to find a shooter, another 3-and-D guy that can help make shoot some threes. And that's what we get. You need defense. You need guys who can shoot. Especially with RJ, who likes to drive, and dish it out. So you need those type of players on your team. Free agent wise, obviously there's no free agents. Don't go after big time free agents.
No, not this season. Next 2 seasons are gonna the market's dried up. Yeah.
So you need to get guys that are gonna come in and understand their role. And get guys who fit the team also. Don't go after. Don't try to reach and sign guys like a Julius Randle again, like those type of players. Just sign 1-year deal guys, and then just continue to build. Because if you're thinking about the next year's free agent class, you have to start winning. So what we have to do is bring in guys who are winners. Bring a winning mentality to change that losing mindset, because it feels like they keep bringing in guys who have losing mentalities. We have to change that. We have to change it. We need to get guys who are going to come in, dogs, teach the young kids how to be pros. But Kevin Knox, we need to fix Kevin Knox and all the things.
Need to fix Kevin Knox.
We need to fix Kevin Knox because I don't know what happened.
The guy is drunk.
He was absolutely. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he won Rookie of the Month in his rookie year. Like he showed promise, and then his sophomore year, he was just gone. So we need to fix him. Continue to develop Mitchell Robinson. Maybe
Mitchell
get
Robinson,
him a jump shot.
Ooh, he's so good. And the limited amount of minutes, he is a fouling machine. Don't get me wrong, but it's understandable. He's young in how he plays. But my God, Mitchell Robinson. Sometimes when you watch him, just when you see him, I know guys swoon over Jared Allen, and respectively, he's great. I think he's better than DeAndre Jordan. It's an atrocity he's not starting on the Nets. But Mitchell Robinson doesn't get enough credit because he is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's tremendous. And, get him, if they don't bring back Taj Gibson, get a veteran who's going to teach him, because I thought one of the biggest things that hurt Mitch a little bit this year was not having DeAndre Jordan with him, because DeAndre Jordan was a big influence in his development his rookie year. So I think bringing another vet big man, whether it's like a Tyson Chandler type player, who's going to teach him how to not foul, because he fouls way too much. We just got to fix that, So bring in a veteran big man to help, Mitchell Robinson take that next level. And just don't tie up your salary cap. There's no free agents, so don't sign guys that are not worthy of sign 1 year with a team option like you did with some guys this year. Try to get rid of Julius Randle. I think that's another big thing. I would ship Julius Randle. I don't think he fits this team. Like I said, not a winner. We need winning. We need winning mentality players, not a winner. I would try to ship him out, get what you can for him, but just play a smart draft. Draft the right guys that are going to fit the system. Fit RJ, help RJ take that next level, because he has potential to be a tremendous, an all-star type player. And the same thing with Mitchell Robinson. And fix Kevin Knox. Make sure we hire the right coach that's going to develop this team. Like a Kenny Atkinson to me would be perfect for this team. And to take that now, because he's a great developmental coach. That's perfect for what the Knicks need. Right? They need a coach that's developmental, that can help develop these guys. So that's my plan right there. They're probably not going to do a third of that, so I won't get my hopes up. But that's how I would approach the offseason for the Knicks.
All right. Well, I love that. I agree with a majority of that too. I think that the only thing I disagree with is I think you guys could work with Randall if you guys do move some things. It just didn't fit the system, because Randall's not one of those guys that he could just make his own type of shot. And then when he's the number one option for a team, but I don't know where you guys are going to get a good enough player where he's going to be a number two. So I definitely see you guys can trade him to try and get some value. I just feel like his value right now is deteriorated because of the play that we've seen. But let's switch over to the Giants real quick. The New York Giants, legend in Eli Manning himself retired. Eli somehow, some way. What are your thoughts about that? Real quick, I know some people are saying that they don't think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. I think that's just blasphemy. I think that's atrocious. I think if you win 2 Super Bowls, plus another thing too is if you could say that the defense propped him up, but damn it, Eli's the one with the 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Plus he's the 3rd longest consecutive streak of games in the NFL. I feel like he's you can make an argument he's not a first ballot. But I think he's guaranteed in. I don't see how Eli's not in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I agree. I don't think he's first ballot. I think he gets in. Of course, I think he's definitely going to get in. He has the stats. He's got the 2 Super Bowls. So that's definitely going to be in his favor. And he's a Manning. So all those things are going to be in his favor.
And he's a Manning, yeah.
For Eli. That helps a lot too. So
that's the name. He's got the nepotism going on, but
the name helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things too where it's just quarterbacks are one of those weird positions, because when you're good, and then when you start declining, it's a huge decline. It's like a cliff fall. And I'm glad that the Eli experience, it wasn't like they tried to milk it. It wasn't like they tried to keep it going longer than they did. It felt like they were going to for a little bit, because even like the last year before, it looked like Eli was a lame duck out there. So how do you feel about the Danny Dime experience, moving on from that?
Well, I wasn't crazy about them drafting Daniel Jones. just, I just wasn't a big fan. I thought that the previous year they should have drafted a quarterback. They should have took Darnold or Josh Allen over Saquon.
Saquon.
Yes, I still believe. Here's my thing. If you're in a situation where, okay, you have an older quarterback who's clearly declining, there's a bunch of quarterbacks available, why not you may not get this may not happen again. You may not have this opportunity to pick your quarterback. You can pick which quarterback you want. And they didn't do that. And, Saquon was probably the best player on the board. He's the most talented, most gifted. He could be a Hall of Fame running back. But that shelf life is what? He may not even get a second contract. We don't just running backs, you could find, even in that draft alone, Nick Chubb, he may not be as overall good as Saquon, but he's not. He's probably, not that much of a difference. He's a tremendous back.
I do agree with the whole running back life scale. Don't mean to cut you off real quick, but I mean, just look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, Tannehill got paid over Derrick Henry, and you're telling me that Tannehill's more valuable player than what Derrick Henry provides? It's just running backs just get grinded to the ground, and I feel like every year you can draft a stud running back. Now some of them are falling the second round, but go on, continue with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Packers, they got Aaron Jones. They got him out of nowhere. That's just my thing. Is like Saquon is tremendous. I love him, but it's just I just thought you take the quarterback because the quarterback, if you find the right one, you can have 15 years. A running back, the most you can get out of them, prime years, 8 years you may get. Once they hit 30, everything starts going downhill. I know today the NFL is different.
Do you think Josh Allen could have been the one? Because, I mean, looking at it, like I would go with Saquon over Josh Allen. I mean, they're both still young. We can see how they develop. But I could see Saquon having the potential to be the best, if not one of the best running backs of the decade. I don't know. I don't want to go so far saying one of the best ever. But I think he could just run 2020 if he had the right skill set. But then seeing Josh Allen, I'm not sure if he could be a top 5 QB, if that makes sense. Is that something that you'd still do?
Yes. Because even like I said, Eli Manning is a perfect example. Eli Manning was never a top 5, top 10 quarterback, and he still was able to lead a team to two Super Bowls. So as long as you have a quarterback who's middle of the pack and you build the team right, you could go far. I mean, the Ravens did it with Joe Flacco. He had a tremendous run that when they won the Super Bowl, had a solid defense. I value the quarterback way more than I value a running back. Even though he could be all world, he could be Barry Sanders.
Yeah, I know he's starting to look like Barry Sanders. Yeah, that run he had against the Lions, man. You made him look like a boy. You put him on the ground. Oh man.
Yeah, but look at Barry Sanders. He
retired early. Yeah.
Play a meaningful.
He was so stressed. He was so stressed.
He was like, "I'm done with this." So
he said, "I'm done with this shit."
That's just my thing. Yeah, he's like, "I'm done. I'm not dealing with this. We're gonna lose every year." So that's just my thing. I just value here we could have took someone that could have been more valuable. But I think Daniel Jones is going to be good. How good his turnovers and stuff, but he has potential to be solid as long as they build a team around him. So I'm optimistic about Danny Dimes.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's all you can be is optimistic. He had some flashes. The thing though, it's just hard to judge a quarterback wherever they're playing garbage time minutes or the garbage games, not minutes necessarily. Because it's like same thing with Gardner Minshew. Like if you would have just looked at what he was doing compared to what Nick Foles, you'd be like, damn, Gardner Minshew is like he's the next Tom Brady, but we don't really know yet because they weren't that meaningful games. Granted, I do think he has he had potentially had flashes. It's just hard. So we're gonna see though. I like Daniel Jones, so we'll see. All right. So we're winding down though, but I gotta ask you. So drafts coming up for the Giants. Sadly, because of the corona, we're not going to have the wonderful draft party, or else I'll tell you, hey, come to Vegas, man. We'll watch it together. But who are you liking so far for the Giants? You guys got the 4th pick right now. What are you thinking? You're thinking O-line, D-line? What are you thinking over here?
I honestly, I think it's if I'm the GM, I'm thinking offensive line.
Offensive line.
I think you have to. A lot of people talk about Isaiah Simmons, and Isaiah Simmons is so talented. He's probably the second or third best defensive player in this draft, behind Chase Young and maybe Okuda. But you have to take an offensive lineman here. You have to protect Daniel Jones. whether you want to put that guy on the right side until Solder, because Solder it's clearly declining too. So you want to be able, at least for a year, you could put the guy on the right side, and keep Solder there on the left side for the time being. But you have to take one of these tackles, whether it's Jedrick Willis, whether it's Tristan Wirfs, whether it's Mekhi Becton, who I think that Gettleman is going to fall in love with because he's massive. He's 6'7", 6'8", 360. He's a massive individual. But I think you got to go offensive tackle. That's just me.
I do agree that it's really important. You can get away with a lot of things on your team if you have a solid offensive line. Makes your running back look a lot better. Makes your quarterback look a lot better.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to make those passes when you got more time. I do agree with you. What lineman do you think they're gonna get, and what lineman do you want to get? It might be the same. It might be the same name. It also might not be.
I mean, I like the top three guys. I think Tristan Wirfs is probably the guy.
Yeah, from Iowa.
I think overall, I think, and also you can even kick him out at guard if you want to start him year one at guard. He could play guard and he could be a really good guard for you. He's probably the most versatile out of all three guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like Jedrick Willis too, especially starting off on the right side. He was a right tackle at Alabama, so he has the potential, so he'll know that, and you could keep him there and be solid. But I think Tristan Wirfs probably the guy if he's there at 4. But he's probably. I think all the linemen are going to be there at 4. So it's just a matter of preference. Do you want Tristan Wirfs? Is probably the most polished guy there. For Jedrick Willis, if you want a guy to stay on the right sideline, but possibly pick up for the left tackle if Solder. If Solder's gone after the year, or Mekhi Becton, who's the massive guy from Louisville, who has potential to be maybe the next Jonathan Ogden, but it is potential, and that potential could get you fired. But when he gets his hands on you, you're not getting away from him. So it's just a matter of preference. But if I had to pick, I would go with Tristan Wirfs.
I understand that too. I do love lineman picks. I just feel like they're not the sexiest pick, but they usually end up paying off if you pick the right lineman though. Because sometimes you have like a situation where a guy might not do, like Eric Flowers is a perfect example. Like all of a sudden
why did you have to bring up this
I had to bring him up to talk about the Giants, but then all of a sudden but that's the thing. He might have figured it out on the Redskins, but we don't know yet. He's going to the Dolphins. He might regress back. He might not, but we'll see. Let's move on. I don't want to give you a bad time. We already talked about the Knicks, so you already talked about enough bad stuff with me. So we'll move on. What are you thinking for the rest of the draft? After that, what are you thinking? Because if I sent you a mock draft that we're looking at, the projected pick is Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. I like him too. What were you thinking? Were you guys thinking maybe wide receiver instead? Because this is a deep class of receivers.
It's extremely deep.
So deep.
Extremely deep. But I mean, I think they're pretty solid at receiver right now. With Slayton and Golden State, and I know they brought in Corey Coleman. I know they really like Corey Coleman, but he's been hurt the last 2 years. So
he has been. Yeah.
He was a high draft pick from the Browns, but maybe they can get something out of him. But so maybe if you want to take a guy in the 4th, you could probably get someone in the 4th or 5th round as far as receivers, and that could be that could make it. I mean, Slayton was I think a 5th or 6th round pick last year out of Auburn, and he showed that he has potential to be a tremendous receiver. So I think they could find a guy in the 4th, 5th round as far as a receiver. But if Xavier McKinney is there in the 2nd round, that's tremendous because he's a 1st round player. If he's there in round 2, that's tremendous to help that secondary. But they also need a pass rusher. They need a pass rusher desperately. So, if a guy Matos from Penn State there, possibly Weaver from Boise State is there, maybe somehow if Epinesa drops, because I know people are not proud of his his measurables and stuff. He didn't run a fast 40 and stuff. So, but I mean, if they can get offensive linemen in round 1 and in rounds 2 or 3 get
that rusher, that pass rusher,
get that pass rusher, I think that's the way to go because they have to come out with an offensive lineman and a pass rusher for this to be a successful draft.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the blueprint for the Giants. All right. So what are you thinking is the landscape of your division?
I mean, I feel like that division every year always a different, whether a team goes 12-4 the year before, and next year they could be the third best team, fourth best team division. That division is always up and down every year. So, it wouldn't be surprising if the Giants are the best team in that division next year if they make all the right moves, and they're the number one team. Because I think Dallas is going to take a step back. The Eagles, they have trouble. Their offensive line is changing, and they don't have great receivers and stuff. And the defense, they lost Malcolm Jenkins. So and the Reds are rebuilding. The Giants if they make the right moves this offseason, they could possibly be the division champs. This division is always up and down every year. It always feels like something, a new team wins it. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants are number one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants are the worst team. So I think that's what I think that's with every team. You wouldn't be surprised if Dallas is the best team. You would be surprised if they're the worst team. Same thing with the Eagles. Same thing with the Skins. I mean, you probably think the Skins are going to be finished last, but if the Skins do a good thing, they hired a great coach. It feels like they're doing some good things. If they if they get Chase Young, they go with that defense. They can have a tremendous defense, especially with Ron Rivera at the helm.
Mm-hmm. So there's the potential, yeah.
Any one of those teams, could win it. Any one of those teams could finish last. It's probably the most up and down division in all football.
All right. Yeah, well, basically, Chris, we're winding down. Is there anything that you want to say to the listeners real quick, maybe about your show or just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm a guy from New York. I have the Off the Ball podcast. I was doing mainly basketball, but obviously since basketball was looked as it's kind of on hiatus now. I've been doing some
took it away from us, damn it.
Football. Yeah, man, damn right. But I did some NFL draft stuff. I had a guy last week. We did 2-part NFL draft stuff. So that was pretty cool. Just expanding, just keeping. Just trying to find things to talk about, but it's like Off the Ball podcast. I started it last year. Was up and down a little bit with it, but then I've been really go hard since January with it, and I feel like we've definitely hit our stride, and I've definitely been doing some good things with it. Just got picked up by Sports Network, the breakdown. So I'm excited about that and joining up with them. So. Just got a lot of good things coming up with the podcast. So, but thank you again for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're real happy to have you here. Go check it out. I'll be dropping the links. I'll be dropping the links to his podcast. You can go check it out. Off the Ball podcast. Thank you for coming on, Chris, and stay safe out there. All right.
All right, man. Take care, brother.